I have a weird relationship with Superman. And it's not that I don't like Superman, and it's not that I think that he is a bad character at all. But I've always kind of felt that I didn't really like him, didn't really see him as my favorite superhero, and only ever liked him in the, Lego Batman 2 game. But going about it, like seeing the Superman 2025 movie, yes, I was a little late to this movie, but overall, I really enjoyed the movie. Is it perfect? No. Is it really good? Yeah. I really suggest this movie. I think it is a fantastic movie. There's a lot of problems with it, but there's a lot of not. There's a there's a lot of good things too. I feel like the good outweighs the bad in a lot of cases. Um, but a warning now, there is going to be spoilers. But for a while, I've not really gelled with Superman movies. You had like Man of Steel. I can't ever remember liking that other one with the same actor that I don't remember. I need to rewatch all the Christopher Reeve movies because I don't remember a single thing from them, but I have seen them. So Superman and me, we don't really get on all the time. But in this new movie, I really enjoyed it, and I really like the character of Superman. I will say there was a massive lack of Clark Kent though. This is one of my main problems with the movie: a huge lack of Clark Kent, and it really bothers me some. Where it doesn't bother me too much that Lois already knows he's Peter Parker. Fuck what? That's the wrong superhero. Lois already knows that he is Clark Kent. I don't know how I managed that. Fuck me. I don't know how I managed to let that slip through my mouth. It doesn't bother me that Lois knew he was Clark Kent, but it'd been nice to see them together on screen more. Because the only notable time that I remember Clark Kent and Lois Lane being on screen together, that would be the interview scene, which is a good scene. Don't get me wrong, but we didn't have the relationship established enough for it to hit as hard as it was supposed to hit, and the fact that she was also debating to break up with him before like everything kind of went from like 1 to 10 in like 0.5 seconds. So, yeah. Ding, 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 ding. I really just wish that, their relationship was more developed, and going on the more developed stuff before I get into any plots or anything. Um, the Justice Gang, I loved them. I was not a very big fan of the Green Lantern as soon as we seen him, but then boy, he grew on me fast. Like, let me tell you, I ended up really enjoying his character. Like, the second scene he was in, as soon as I seen him, I was like, "What? Nah, I don't like that." And then instantly, it was like, "This guy's funny as hell," and I do really like him. I also really liked Mr. Terrific, and I don't even remember the girl's name, if I'm going to be honest. I'm pretty sure there's another person on the team. I don't really remember her all too well. I think she's like the Hawk or something. I don't remember. Um, but I think they needed more time to sizzle and more time to really let us get to know these characters. So I hope we do get a Mr. Terrific show. I know there's a Lantern show, and I assume the Green Lantern's in that. But anyway, all that aside, I do think that they should have had, a bit more of a setup. And I don't know about them instantly being in Superman as the startup movie and even product from this new DCU. But I'm happy they were there, but I feel like they could have been more developed in, I don't know, maybe having their own movie to their own show first. But it works either way of having them there, then having the character develop more. But it would have been nice to have a more grounded movie where it was Clark Kent maybe first becoming Superman, and then slowly but surely, falling in love with Lois and having that story retold again. I understand why they didn't. It's kind of like the MCU not having the Uncle Ben thing, because we've had it twice before. But it would have been nice because their relationship didn't have enough time to really feel like super close to our hearts. And I do feel for both characters, and I do really like the both characters, but I'm just, just saying. Now, going into, like, the start of the movie, we get a first shot of Superman just, like, falling, and he has been just beat up, just absolutely, just, word not coming to me, just beat the fuck up, basically. He is falling down, he is injured. Then, the Roblox, what? Let me try that again. So, so the movie starts as Superman crashing down, he's been beat up, and the robots that he kind of lives with take him into this little cave, and they patch him up to like 80% or 85% or something like that, while playing his favorite video of his parents, or maybe his only video of his parents. Basically just saying, we love you, and, you're going to do great things, probably. I don't know, I can't remember. And, like, he kind of soothes him. But what I notice a lot in this movie is he gets beat up a lot. Like, first thing we see is him getting beat up. Then he gets patched 3%, and then he goes back out and gets beat up again by, like, someone that looks like the Killmonger from Iron Man 1. Like, he gets beat up quite a bit in this movie, which, like, I've always said I'd like to see, Superman a little less powerful, but he's getting, like, invincible level beat up kind of situations, just getting, like, slapped up almost every fight up until, I guess maybe he's had enough or something. But it was kind of crazy, and it definitely got me by surprise of how much they really let Superman get just walloped around. But I get it, and, especially early Superman, but I think, like, even, like, he didn't have to be that early. They could have, like, had something similar to Smallville, maybe not shown, but, like, kind of integrated into him, kind of learning his powers and all. Like, it's to the point where I kind of feel like he was getting beat up so much, and he never really fought, and he never really got a victory by himself. He was always in them duos or trios to get the victory royale, which was kind of it's kind of underwhelming, knowing it's Superman. And even though I'm not a huge fan of Superman, how he's always like just packing up everyone and whatever, there wasn't exactly like huge threats I felt that really kind of were the problem. It was just everything. So I thought that was a bit weird. And even though, like, I'm going into a Superman movie, I'm going to want Superman to be able to beat people up. And I'm going to want Superman to be able to hold his own. So I thought that was a little bit strange, but yeah, what can you do about it? Also, I liked how, like, how much he was willing to help anything. Like, he saved a squirrel in this movie. Like, that just shows how much, they were really pushing the point where he's, like, superhuman, and but not even a human would do that. But, like, he's super caring, and he'd never hurt a fly or a squirrel. One of my favorite probably villain in this movie is gonna be, like, the main one, obviously, which is Lex Luthor. And I thought it was very interesting, like, how they portrayed him, and having him, knowing all of, like, Superman's moves, like, he studied him that well, just to kind of, like, I think his name was Ultraman, and he was given Ultraman these, like, Superman would do a pose, and he'd be like, C-32, and then he'd be like, oh, that's whoop, and he'd, like, he'd, like, punch Superman, and he'd be like, whoosh, and kind of just, like, send him flying. Also, I thought something very funny in this movie. When, like, everything is splitting in two, it just reminded me of the Lego Batman movie, if anyone remembers that gem. But throughout this movie, Superman gets packed up a lot. I like the fact that Lex was so smart, he even has his own pocket universe to put anything that he just kind of just doesn't like or just kind of annoys him in there. Like, his little girlfriend he put in there, but this little girlfriend, little did he know, was, like, getting snaps of everything with all the important information in the background, and then she sent it to one of the main characters to, help find out the plan and stuff like that, which that was pretty cool. But it's just, like, a very weird character that I didn't know how I felt about her character. She was very strange, but I think it's time, and I've been trying to push this off for the 10 minutes that I've been recording. But, okay, I'm gonna get into it. The action in this movie was phenomenal. Even though I know complaining about Superman getting, like, just swung around the entire time, I do love the action in this movie, and I think it delivered pretty well, and it surprised me because you know a lot of of the older DC movies. I think from the DCEU, I think, or the DCU, whichever one. I'm not really sure, but their CGI always just sucked so bad, like really really bad, and especially in something like The Flash. You know what I mean? The CGI was just completely awful. Um, but they made it look very, very nice. And one of the parts that you can really see that the CGI works for one and the character works for it as well is Crypto. Having that him just kind of based off an actual dog, but him being such probably one of my favorite characters in the entire movie. And him just kind of like not listening to Superman at all, and him kind of being like a reckless dog reminds me of my dog a lot. Where Crypto is just some crazy dog who it has a heart of gold, and the dog will help. You know, when it really realizes it kind of needs help, like in the beginning of the movie, we kind of see Crypto, drag Superman to his little palace but he also can be like the biggest nuisance ever, and kind of becomes a problem in itself, and it's very funny and very entertaining to watch, and I do love Crypto a lot. I also got to glaze again Lex Luthor. I think that he was a very good acting choice. I definitely think they stepped up from a lot of the other live action Lex Luthors, especially being like Smallville's one. They definitely did better, and he gave me like big time Lex Luthor comic vibes, and I really did appreciate his character, and I will glaze that. I think the Superman costume as well looked great. I like just everything about it, and I've seen the new Superman suit for the new movie that's like kind of like the leaked shot, so I can't remember if they're official. I don't remember, but that looks cool too. But I'm a big fan of this first Superman suit, and it is a huge improvement from the Henry Cavill suit. I mean, even just having them brighter colors and having that them like red like outer shorts or whatever outer pants, whatever you want to call them. I love that, and I'm glad that they're not really going towards this. Oh yeah, that looks goofy, so we're not going to use it kind of thing. I'm very much happy that they had the design they have, and I think just the actor alone of Superman, I can't remember his name. I think he looks fantastic. He really is giving me Christopher Reeve vibes if he was in a better time period to play Superman. Now, while I'm on this topic of glazing literally everything, my favorite character in this movie by far is Mr. Terrific. I cannot wait for his show, and I was holding off earlier, but I'm now going to get into it. He is probably the most fun character from DC that I have enjoyed watching since like Heath Ledger's Joker. Like just how obviously I know they're a lot different, but just like the way he was, I loved so much, and that is putting him very high. That is me saying that I enjoyed watching the Joker the most and Heath Ledger's portrayal, but Mr. Terrific, man, he was such a fun character, and I can't wait for that show. Everything he was doing, like when he was going to like the pocket dimension, or just before that when he's kind of landing and he's like sending his orbs out everywhere, and I think him and Crypto as well had like a really fun chemistry where Crypto would always just kind of fly off and try to like destroy them little flying orb things, and everything Mr. Terrific does is just so fun to watch, and they had a perfect casting. Whoever that guy is, I don't know who the actor is. I haven't looked it up, but like also just being like I don't even know who Mr. Terrific is. I haven't got that deep into Batman comics or anything, or Superman comics or wherever he's from. But as a member of the Justice Gang, he was so fun to watch, and I really can't wait to see more of him. Now, going on to the rest of the Justice Gang, you have Green Lantern, which I did say earlier, but I'm going to recap on it because obviously I need to like sort out things in my head. I was not a fan of when I first seen him, but second scene in, I thought he was hilarious. And he doesn't get a ton of screen time, but when he's there, he is just absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to see more of him. And I know we're gonna need like the actual Green Lantern to from like the main one. I can't remember who it is. But we're gonna need them soon enough or whatever for like the Justice League. But the Justice Gang, as it is, he is such a fun Green Lantern, and everything that he does, I just absolutely adore and love. And then we have Hawk Girl, I think. Um, she didn't really do a lot that I remember or even care about, to be honest. But one thing she did do is like I think like pretty sure it was in like the big showdown bit where she just like kind of kills one of the big bads because he's like you guys you're all whatever, you won't kill me, you're like Superman kind of thing. She just like kind of like just trip kills him, which I thought was very interesting. But I'm sure that she'll have a very fun character arc through like other movies and shows that she's in. But as it stands, she's my least favorite character in the Justice Gang, and probably the movie because she didn't just have a whole lot. But someone in the movie that I have not glazed yet, which I need to do, um, sorry, my throat is is Lois Lane. I don't know why I forgot her name then. Lois Lane in this movie is the best Lois Lane I think I've ever seen in my life. She is perfect, and just the way she presents herself and the way she is and how she's, figures out a lot of the stuff to do with Lex's plan. I think she is very strong, and she's just such a good Lois Lane and a good character. And I hope that, she stays on for a lot of this new universe that they're cooking up here. Because she is probably like my third favorite character in this movie. And I really hope that she does stick around, which I think she will, obviously. Now, for another person that I really enjoyed watching, which I also don't know who he is, and I've never seen him before, but I think his name was like Element Man. I'm gonna say it's Element Man. Basically, he can just make anything out of his own body, and I think they did a really fun thing with him. Um, just, just, just him being such a fucking cool character, to be honest. He was originally in Lex's pocket dimension because there's like no kryptonite or something, and he can make kryptonite with his own hands and stuff. And he really just kind of he is like the big thing against Superman. It just makes him all weak and stuff. But soon as Superman manages to convince him, he stops making the kryptonite, and Superman goes over and flies and saves his baby, and which is the only reason he decided to do it was because Lex had his baby. And then he joins the Justice Gang, and I thought they did a very very good job with it. Now, one of the like huge parts of this movie was when Lex went to his house with some other people or whatever, like Superman's house, and they recovered the video. And the half end of the video, I felt like they were gonna like, I think they were gonna like stage it. They didn't need to because the other end of the video was like, you know, make them bow against you and make Krypton great again or something like that. I don't really remember, but whatever it was, it made Superman feel like a bad guy. It made painted him in a very bad and ugly color. Um, so it just turned everyone against him, and no one liked him. So he's walking down the street, everything's getting thrown at him. He has to be in this building, and the Justice Gang are there, and they really establish like is this true? And he's like, no, it's not true, because in his head, the only thing he was supposed to do was just save people, make people feel safe, be the Superman, but instead he's more being just an evil guy. Well, he was supposed to be an evil guy, and I thought it was a very interesting plot, and I very much liked it. I thought it was a very strong and something I very much liked, and I am very happy that this is the plot we had, and it wasn't something different. I very, 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 very was. I was very, 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 very surprised when I first seen it. I was like, "What? That is nuts!" Because that's not what you think when you see Superman. So a very good plot point. And I like later on, that big old speech about him being human and the why he does things and why he is human. That for me is probably the reason why I think he's the best Superman that we've ever had. It is so true because even though he is alien and he is not human, everything he does it just forces him to be more human. So it is something that I really like and I am a big fan of. And I just think they did a great job with the movie. Now, I don't really want to carry on blabbering on about a load of other stuff. Basically, this movie is worth a watch 100 times over. I really enjoyed this movie. Not perfect. I don't really want to get too much more into it because I don't have a lot of time left. But I gave you the stuff I liked, and I gave you the stuff that I thought, was a bit, could do better kind of thing. But yeah, very good start to the DCU. I'm pretty sure this is the last one they're going with. So I'm very happy with it. That's about it. Bye-bye.